And here beside more remnant of this wall, some of it rebuilt and restored, is this lovely restored building, or at least it's been painted. About all you can ask for anymore. The detail probably at one time was individually painted, but they don't want to waste the time. This motif underneath the window seeming to have a face, or at least the mask of the actor. And here the same. And she, whoever she is, holds still another mask. This suggests the range of performances. Here a nearby square, a haven for cats. Seem to get along easily enough with wary pigeons. We're slowly getting away from the tourists. I'm probably about an eighth to a quarter of a mile from the tourist section, and I thought I noticed a park through here, so I'm going to wander in. To my right looks like industrial commercial construction. Much of a maintained park, but something worth having. The parking structure for this communist era apartment building. Extremely bland and unappealing from the outside. The only hope is what you do with what's inside. Fortunately, the front side has more appealing possibilities. So I'll walk this way, which is taking me away from Split, although over there you can see water, so another big inlet apparently. These are just very tall and narrow apartment buildings. Notice how the apartments on this side are shielded from the sun by those sliding grates. Here a small park adding at least some element of refuge. Notice that some of the people have embellished their apartments with those awnings. Notice how these just pivot out and then you push them back up. Pretty simple. Looks like this whole area to my left is a sports area, including this big arena. Whether those half shells slide around to block the sun, I don't know, but it looks like they would. I don't know. Looks like something out of a 1984 movie or some science fiction presenting not such a pleasant future. This image and others like it, often very, very much worse, reflect my observation that the world architecturally is becoming uglier as cultural designs that had interest in the past are being replaced by concrete. Often not as horrifically mishmash detailed as this is, but with an even worse anonymity and consistency of design to render all countries the same. I walk deeper into this complex, this area, and see if there's anything that's redeeming. Certainly the trees in this area are pretty and add a nice dimension. Somewhat even carried forward interiors. It's still that bland architecture. Fights anything you do. Notice that probably 95% of all these people remain cloistered behind those vertical rolling shutters from the sun. Yet curiously, the back of this building, which probably gets the least sun all year long, does not have advantage of large windows. They look in the other direction. We come out of there into this continuation of that building. Moderate sized one. Ugly, plain, huge. Others. Fragile attempts at adding some humanity, at least for children. What does such sterile ugliness do for the human spirit of the people who live in these buildings? This forested area up here, on a hill with stone outcroppings, and just was kind of pulled up to see what it is, so let's go see. So I'm now up on a plateau that used to be designed and used as a park, as you can see from the remnant of park benches. Now it's just left to rot, and there's some walls, whether they were for some earlier construction. My guess is it's no longer a park. It's a hangout for homeless derelicts. But it must have been pretty at one time. Natural rock feature. Mainly is the toilet by everybody. People once built shacks up here. How pretty it must have once been and could be. As I said earlier, places like this that have magnificent tourist attractions are a mere veneer for what lies behind it. Though there's a very substantial economy lying behind this one. Well, at least if it's left to the derelicts, nothing much will happen to it. So it can always be restored. It would have been once nicely landscaped. Someone's sleeping pad, frequently used for this kind of landscaping. How interesting it must have looked. Imagine how dramatic this looked. That's where we were up walking before. It's got a little bit too dangerous. What a wonderful place for people to be able to walk through. You get a bathtub up here. I'd be willing to bet there was a time when people built little shacks up here and lived. You can see all the toilet paper over there for recent use. Looking south to the tower at the Temple of Jupiter, and pulling back to show what passes for innovative architecture. Viewing the sky from further right than I'm standing right now. Standing on that huge ladder, which must be 6 stories high, painting that insignia. And then as I got to my left, I realized that the whole thing is just a drawing. But I was amazed to think that someone could be up there on the ladder. I was looking for this church, which I saw from up in that abandoned park, and without realizing it, ran right into it. So that's good dead reckoning. There's a funky old stone building. Certainly looks authentic, doesn't it? One of the few I've seen, if not the only one I've seen split, that had a stone roof. Isn't that something? Huh. Right next to it. You can see the roof is caving in, no doubt just from the weight alone, but then it's had cement put on it in order to seal it, which sealed its fate. Here's what looks like another authentic old building. Don't think it's as old as the two we just saw. It looks like a church, but so modern as to be almost not. Not interesting enough for me to go around to the front of it. I'm now moving back towards the tourist area, which is to my right. This little park, which is kind of pretty, is I think on the northwest corner of the palace and of this chunk of the old Venetian wall, which I had not yet seen. We're about right back where I started on my little jaunt, right at that park. My guess is that what looked like large and elaborate homes were probably those of the wealthy, built when the castle grounds was just too filled up allowing these people to get more real estate to build on. There's some interesting designs and some classic detail, but large and impressive. Larger than what we saw inside the castle, and standalones, which makes the even better statement, bigger statement.